I am Matthew.
And I'm Aidan.
And I'm Joseph.
And we are the John Ogilvie High School Senior Public Speaking Team. And today, we're going to give you 5 simple steps on how to make a great public speaking presentation. Now, we're much older than you, and we've developed our skills over many years, but if you follow our steps, you'll be able to make a public speaking speech as good as ours.
Step number 1. Choose a topic that you're interested in and that you think others will be too. You must understand your topic, and if you don't understand your topic, then the audience will realise this and become disinterested. You must be knowledgeable with your topic, and you don't do this by taking huge amounts off the internet or off of books and simply copying it down. So choose your topic carefully.
Step number 2. Guys, this is a public speaking competition, not a public reading competition. You need to know your speech thoroughly. If the audience are only seeing the top of your head, then they're going to lose interest. So rehearse lots and learn your speech off by heart.
And that brings us to step 3, eye contact. If you want to engage with your audience, you have to look at them. Make eye contact all throughout the speech. Smile, glare, whatever the mood of the speech is, but always make sure there's a connection between the audience, your face, and your personality.
Step number 4. Humour. It's always a good idea to add in a little bit of humour into your speech, even if your topic is a serious one. People will relax if you're relaxed and easy with the situation, and humour is a good way to get the audience on your side. Keep your humour relevant and don't start telling jokes that have got nothing to do with your topic.
And finally, point number 5. The time limit's important, guys. If it says 4 minutes, it means 4 minutes. You start losing points if you go over the time limit or you fall short of it. So rehearse lots and make sure you get your timing perfect.
And that's it. That's our 5 steps to successful public speaking. We wish you luck in yours, and we look forward to judging the finalists later on in the year. But for now, here's one we did earlier. In this presentation, we are a team of 3.
I introduce Matthew.
And I deliver a speech which is about cheating.
And I give the vote of thanks to Matthew for his great speech. I can't tell him it's rubbish, even if it is.
We hope you enjoy it.
It's called We're All Cheats, aren't we? Come on, let's go.
Honoured judges, ladies and gentlemen, fellow competitors. I'm Aidan Hutchison from John Ogilvie High School, and I'm the chairperson for this evening. My fellow teammates are Matthew Campbell, our main speaker, and Joseph Callaghan, who will offer the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I say, without fear of contradiction, we are in the presence of greatness. Matthew, Joseph, Sebastian Campbell is without question the very embodiment of the 4 capacities which enshrine the new curriculum for excellence. Not only is he an extremely successful learner, but in terms of confidence, he exudes this quality. Impressive though these are the least of his attributes, as Matthew is charged with a deep-seated sense of responsibility to his community, which spurs him to greater and greater feats of personal commitment and dedication. He is, ladies and gentlemen, the quintessential global citizen. And for this, he was elected unopposed in a landslide victory to the position of head boy. However, it was felt that this title did him little justice, and so for the first time in the history of our great school, he is simply known as Campbell, a name synonymous with leader. When you ask first-year pupils, "What do you want to be when you grow up, young man?" they reply, "I want to be a Campbell." This evening, though, he comes to you with a heavy heart. He has watched the moral decline in our society. Though modest and self-effacing by nature, sorry, did I omit to mention that earlier? He feels he must now speak out. His modesty has even prevented him from sharing the details of his speech with Joseph and myself. And so, we, like you, are to hear this address for the first time. We, like you, are breathless with anticipation. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Campbell.
Ladies and gentlemen, honoured judges, fellow competitors, in spite of what Aidan has just said, I've got a confession to make. I'm a dirty, rotten cheat. That's right, I've said it. Dad, for the public forum in this lectern, I confess, I never scored 51% in my hospitality module last year.
Oh no, I tip X to 3 and made it into a 5. And Jamesy, that's my wee brother by the way. Jamesy, last week we were playing FIFA there and you nipped it to the toilet. Well, Alan paused the game and nicked a wee goal. 1-0 to the Campbell. Like my predecessor before me, I confess, I cannot tell a lie. Because the fact is, it's in our DNA. We all cheat if we can get away with it. So, when I see the likes of Ben Johnson, the fastest man on the planet, Canadian Superman, fall to earth when he was exposed as a drugs cheat, I realise that Lance Armstrong, the greatest cyclist in the history of the sport, was actually a systematic drugs cheat, whose entire career was characterised by denial, bullying, doping and fraud. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my heart goes out to them. Because they can't help it. It's in their DNA. We're all cheats. I mean, it's not as if Ben Johnston was the only one on drugs that day. That is now described as the dirtiest race in history. Because 6 out of the 8 All-Star field that day in Seoul were on drugs. And that included Carl Lewis, Linford Christie and Calvin Smith. And we also know that each one of Lance Armstrong's team were on the rich man's wacky-backy as they flew up the hairpin bends of the French Alps like Roadrunner on speed to win the Tour de France. It's just a fact of life, ladies and gentlemen. We can't get away from it. It's in the DNA. We're all cheats. Calvin Smith, Carl Lewis, Ben Johnson, Linford Christie, Lance Armstrong and the Campbell. We all cheat. We're all the same. Aye. That will be right. The difference, of course, is that I'm not a national or international legend. I don't inspire or motivate generations of young, aspiring athletes or shape the dreams and aspirations of thousands of naive, innocent cyclists who want to believe that greatness is possible if you just have the desire and the drive and the ability to suffer pain for glorious gain. I'm not a multi-millionaire who has fleeced the pockets of legions of gullible sports fanatics and robbed fellow athletes of glory, fortune and fame. I ask you, who were the cyclists that Armstrong robbed of victory? Has anybody heard of Andy Martin? What about Danny Oss? Or Tony Schleck? No. Unless you're a pure cycling geek, you won't know them. Because these men are losers. They ride clean and they lose, and neither you nor I will ever know or frankly care what they've sacrificed and achieved, because we're only interested in winners. Nobody cares about second best. Unless you're his ma. And that's the real problem in sport nowadays. We're now firmly in the culture of win at all costs. The famous American football coach Vince Lombardi described the problem perfectly. Winning, he said, is not a sometime thing. It's an all the time thing. It's the only thing. But that's good. I hear you say sport is about competition. It's about being the best, the first, the fastest, the strongest. That's why we watch it. But when winning becomes the only thing, and when the thought of losing is not only unpleasant but totally and utterly unacceptable no matter how good your opponent is, then this seeps into the psyche. And then nothing in our lives which involves second best is good enough. And that's why we have Enron, and MPs cheating, and banks defrauding, and horror of horrors, cheats in cricket. I mean, that's just no cricket. Sports are about success through effort, but we've lost the plot, and it's now become success at any cost. It has ruined reputations and families, banking systems and football clubs. But there is hope. Initiatives such as the Winning Scotland Foundation, the brainchild of 1970s rugby player Bill Gamble, aims to instil an honest-to-goodness self-confidence and a can-do attitude in our children, to try and engender the value of honest effort and sweat for its own sake, and to try and reverse the moral decline which manifests itself in the culture of cheating and corruption which is strangling our sporting world. Sport, Gamble says, is not just about producing medalists. It's about effort and defeat. It's about bouncing back. It's about resilience. But above all else, it's about fun. Although, cheating can be fun as well. I mean, there's last week there, me and wee James were sitting playing chess and he's turned around to take a drink out of his cola and I've moved my bishop. Checkmate to the Campbell. What? I told you at the start. It's in our DNA. We can't help it. We're all cheats. Aren't we?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Kellican, and I will be giving the vote of thanks this evening. I have to admit, ladies and gentlemen, when I first heard what Matthew was going to say tonight, I was gutted. Absolutely gutted. To find out that this paragon of virtue, who has done so much great work, is in fact a dirty, rotten cheat. I admit it was just so hard to take. But then I began to understand that what Matthew has done to us this evening is what the Armstrongs, the Ben Johnsons, and all the other innumerable icons and idols have done to us over the past many years, but on a much larger and frankly more sinister scale than Matthew has ever done. Matthew's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are all imperfect beings. We have our faults, we have our failings. We can find ourselves out as being mildly deceitful, but thankfully on a level which is petty, childish, and largely harmless, and not on a level which is destructive and frankly criminal. So no, Matthew, I will not condemn you for your actions. Indeed, we thank you and admire you. But before I go, let me leave you with a thought. Matthew, who do you think it was that took that history homework out of your bag last week and handed it in as his own?
You dirty rotten cheat!
Correct! We're all cheats, but some more destructive than others. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for Matthew Campbell.